In one of her later books, White Fella Jump Up, Greer closes with the command, and it is a command, "Sit on the ground, damn you, sit on the ground." This isn't to do, as Nowra suggests, to sit at the feet of Greer, the shabby, witheringly old feminist, and hear her polemic, but rather it's an invitation to sit and listen to Aboriginal people on their own terms and territory, and in their own time. I remember going to meet a group of Aboriginal women who were excited about the opening of a new cultural centre in their desert space. They invited me to go fishing with them, and I had that sense of sitting on the ground, watching and chilling out, listening and learning. I continue to follow the progress of this cultural centre through the woman who was appointed to manage it. The mining company funding the cultural centre organised a big launch, and the Aboriginal men and women on whose land it was organised cross-cultural tours as an immersion experience in their own cultural and environmental ways and practices. The whole community was excited about the opportunity to sell their art and craft and to stage performances and organise tours for the steady flow of visitor traffic. 15 months later, a new mine manager needed to find savings in his budget, so he pulled the money committed to the cultural centre, and it was soon forced to close. The community was devastated. Several young men committed suicide, others commenced binge drinking, many slumped into listlessness, and the number of rapes and the amount of domestic violence increased dramatically. The community had lost trust, lost purpose, lost hope. Some of the women organised themselves into night patrols to keep themselves and their children safe. Others took their children to Darwin to start school away from the violence, while others formed a group to advocate for improved health conditions and for federal funding for the cultural centre. And eventually they got their cultural centre back on safer ground, and in the interim, the women had kept their families as safe as possible and their children educated and cared for. This scenario plays itself out in similar ways in so many communities in Pacific countries where the issues are very much the same. When I was in PNG a few years ago on a leadership fellowship that was partly sponsored by several mining companies, we were taken on a tour of a mine operations support services for those working for the company. I saw a group of women watching us from the sidelines on one of these visits. "Come and sit with us, sister," they called out to me. So I did, and they called out to more women to come and sit with us. They told me of the lack of any health facilities to help with pregnancy-related health issues, the lack of health treatment and support for malaria and other diseases, and for HIV testing. They spoke of the rampant domestic violence, of the number of women who'd committed suicide because they felt there was no other way out, of the lack of a place to meet as a supportive space to talk and to share their burden. The women talked of their plan to create such a space and to also introduce adult literacy circles to give other women a greater chance of getting a job and thus greater independence. We need to sit and listen, to seek out ways to be in solidarity with women and to know what we can do that will change the equation for them and their families.